all my crafty people out there. We, of course, have a new project today. I have a couple of shirts that I have thrifted. One is a nice J. Crew denim shirt. It's, is that Chambéry? Anyway, it's a nice shirt. Still got the tags on it. Turn it this way for y'all. It's long sleeve, got a single pocket. I'm not sure if this was probably at an outlet. It's $49.50, and again, it's still got the J. Crew tag on it. But it was in American. No, it wasn't in American Thrift. It was in Goodwill. So I think the shirts, the women's shirts in Goodwill, are like I'm wanting to say they're $4.99. They may be. Yeah, I think they're around $4.99, maybe $3.99, probably $4.99. But anyway, so $5 for the shirt. And then this was another shirt I got at Goodwill. And I just liked it because I thought I could use all of the lace that's on it. I'm sorry, it's caught on itself right now because it's got this crocheted piece. And the little, little tag that they put on them to mark them by color is catching. There we go. Now, again, it was probably $4.99. It's a pretty lace top. I'll put the comps for both of these in the video. The thing about this one, I picked it up and I thought, I can figure out what to do with that lace-wise. Use the big panel in the middle. It is already coming apart here in the back, which is actually good because now I can see it's very simply attached to this crochet piece. So we're just going to seam rip it off, and we're going to salvage that that serge on the top, so we won't have any ravels. I don't think this lace would ravel, but hey, extra security, I'm all for it. So here's what the plan is. We're going to take this and combine the two. I'm short-waisted, and I know I'm not the only one out there. So a lot of shirts are really long on me, including this J. Crew. It's not super long. But it's long. So I have marked it right here above the second button from the bottom. And what I did is I tried it on and I figured out exactly where I wanted to cut it off. Not to make it a crop or a halter. I'm not looking to expose the belly button. But I would like my shirt a little shorter so I can show off more of my fun jeans. And at this point I may not wear this with the jeans because I think I'm gonna do it up a little differently. But I could wear it with tights and it wouldn't look too bad, I don't think. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off. We're going to add that to the bottom. We're going to remove the sleeves. And when we remove the sleeves, we're going to replace them with these nice flouncy sleeves from the shirt. So essentially I'm marrying the two shirts. And I think it'll be, well, how many times do I say I think it'll be a fairly simple process? We will see. The good part is, like I said, I've already marked the shirt, so I know exactly where I'm going to cut off. And I'm going to cut it straight. I'm not going to worry about the nice tapering of the bottom. And I have some plans for all of this denim that I'm relinquishing from its partners, its clothing, sleeves, legs, you name it. And when I did try the shirt on, it, like I said, it fits, but the sleeves are really long on me because I'm short all the way around apparently. So we're going to test this process out. The first thing I'm going to do before I cut into the shirt is I'm going to remove the lace from the bottom of the shirt and remove the lace sleeves because I think they're all put in the same way. They're sewn directly to this crocheted piece. Now the crocheted piece is really pretty too. It does have an arch in the neck, but I still think we could probably use that part for something else, maybe an insert in a jacket. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a beautiful piece. I don't want to lose it. But since it was already damaged and I'm thinking it will work on this denim, I'm going to go ahead and start taking it apart. And again, what I'm going to be doing, just to show you, this is loosely attached to this crochet. This the top piece. So I am just going to seam rip it out, and I'll come back to see y'all when I've got all of the bottom off and the sleeves off, and I will probably come back to show y'all how I cut the denim shirt up. So let me get this taken off, then we'll come back to the denim shirt, and we'll see how much. I've already measured it, by the way. I think I've got enough fabric to cover the bottom and the sleeves, more than enough for the sleeves. The sleeves might have a little gather in them. So I'll show you how to do that. We'll be back when I get to the denim shirt. I'm finishing up the seam ripping for the last sleeve. I already have the bottom and the other sleeve taken off. Almost there. And voila! Now, this gives me the other sleeve, which again I've measured up against the sleeve that's already on the shirt, and we'll have plenty of fabric to the point where we may have to put some little gathers in it. And this is all that remains of the top. It's a really pretty panel. It's curved specifically for the blouse. If it was a straight block, that would be even better, but obviously it's not. So we will figure out what we'll do with this later. We may just add fabric to the end of it and make a different shirt. I have a really pretty plaid shirt that, I don't know, might get wild and crazy with. So we will save this piece. Nothing goes to waste. As you saw with the last piece, I was making the sunflowers with shirts from my granddaughter's other outfits. So we've got the lace bottom and the lace sleeves. This is the bottom. So the next thing we got to do, again, I've already marked my safety pin right there is where I want to cut across the shirt and add the lace to the bottom. And when I tried it on, what this is going to do is it's going to hit me right at where my pants would usually be, like the waistline of your pants, most of my jeans and stuff like that. So it's not a crop top, it's not above that, but it will give me the lace. So quite frankly, when I bend over and stuff like that, I mean, won't be any weird exposure. So most of my jeans are more of a high rise at this time in my life, but I do have a few low rise. And I do have a lot of jeans now. So I'm going to, let's take a measurement on how much that is as far as, it's our famous 7 inches. I think we've done a lot of things where I've taken 7 inches off of things, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off right at that button, right, at the top of that buttonhole, and go all the way across, and then that will give me enough space to have a seam allowance. Now, the other question that we always ask each other, or have to ask each other, is, or ask myself, is inside or outside? Now, the seam that I want to put on this, I want it on the inside. So I'm going to sew right sides together to make sure that the seam is on the inside. And then I think I may use something, maybe I have some more lace up there, we'll check through my stash, to not cover up, but to kind of blend that seam in. And I think that will work. Now we have a pocket up here, and I don't think it's double stitched, but it would be a kind of a pain in the tail to take off and put back in that exact spot. I'm not sure if I want to put anything on the pocket. I'm not sure if I want to put anything on the shirt. We'll kind of make that up as we go. At this point though, I'm going to take the sleeves off first, I believe. And I'm going to do them just like I do the ones for my granddaughter's dresses. I'm going to cut on this side, the sleeve side, so I preserve that stitching where the seam is. And then we'll be able to, again, right sides to right sides, put the lace on there, and it will, am I thinking right sides to right sides? Yes, of course. And then we'll be able to put that lace there and have it fold over. All right, let's cut through this sleeve. I had to think about it for a few minutes. I want to make sure that I preserve this stitching, and the seams are folded towards the shirt when they're created like this. This one is actually double stitched over the shoulder. It's nicely put together. So I'm going to make sure I preserve that side. So when I put the sleeve here on it, it will have the extra security of that extra fabric. So I'm just going to cut on this side of the fabric, of the sleeve, I should say. So this is the scary part, because it's really stitched down here at the bottom. So let's just breathe heavy and put a nick in it. There we go. And we're off. I can get my scissors in there. I'm not sure if I'd be able to get myself to do this if it wasn't for the fact that these were thrifted items and I didn't pay a lot for them. Now, I have thrifted some items that when I looked at the comp, I was a little leery about cutting them up. But I've cut those two Peter Millars up to make my granddaughter's dresses. So I figured I've pulled the Band-Aid off by now. I look at it this way. I wasn't going to wear this shirt unless it did something to it to alter it. It just wasn't to my liking as a plain denim shirt. So we have one sleeve. Let's go take the other one off. Same way. I like to start under the arm and just give it a little nip. Hold on. Make sure all I'm nipping is the sleeve. There we go. Put my scissors in there. And I can clean up the edge after I cut it. So if I'm not super close to the seam, that's okay. I'm just trying to avoid cutting the seam because I think that'll be a good thing to add the lace to. Because the lace is flimsy, so it needs the extra security. And it was attached to that crochet piece, but once you plucked a couple of stitches, it came apart pretty quick, which is why it had a hole in the bottom that attached to the top, as well as one of the sleeves, because it's kind of flimsy. But I think when it's attached to this thicker fabric, it'll be more secure. So I think it'll work out. I just keep my hand in here and make sure I'm not cutting anything extra. I don't want to cut anything except the sleeve. off this shirt. It's nice fabric too. It's kind of a light, soft denim. I guess it's not denim. I don't know what you'd call it. The whatever's on the tag. Chambray? Chambray. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take this tag off. Okay. So now we have a sleeveless shirt. And we have something that we can use to put our sleeves in. The trick with the sleeves will be paying attention to where that seam is. There's only one seam in the sleeve. It would go at the bottom of the sleeve. So just want to make sure that we follow that rule so they'll fall properly because they have kind of a slant to them. So we're going to insert this sleeve and insert the sleeve into these holes. Take these out of here. They're done. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to try and make sure we measure this out. Now, I'm going straight across. I'm not going to waste my time with a hem well, I don't need a hem because this is going to be the lace is going to be the hem, or it's going to be part of the hem. I'm going to go up to this second button, and again, we're talking about right at 7 1/4 inches. But the tricky part is because of the curve in this hemline, we're going to use our board to our advantage, and I'm going to take the points of the two sides of the shirt, and I'm going to line them up with my board, and I'm going to line them up. I just happen to line them up on the 10-inch mark. Okay, and then I'm going to take my big ruler, the one I love so much with the it's got a lip on it, for lack of a better word, and it holds on to my board, which makes it nice. And I'm gonna go across at the 15 mark. And the reason it's only 5 inches is because there's 2 inches down here of curved hem. So it's a total of 7 to this button, but it's only 5 on each side because we're cutting straight across. And I'm not sure if that makes sense. I'm going to use the good old rotary cutter and just go zipping across here. I'm trying to make it as straight as possible. I want to line that up on the 15 both ways. I know I'm giving it a little extra effort, but this is still kind of a denim, so. All right, now we have a shorter, straight, sleeveless, chambray, whatever, fabric, J. Crew shirt, like that. So we're going to add in the sleeves. The sleeves are going to take a little bit of gathering because there's more fabric in this than there is in the armhole. And we're probably going to do those first. I think what will be best is if let's see if we turn it inside out. Let's see if this will work. And then we insert the sleeve, making sure that it's right side out. So it's right side out, but my shirt is inside out. There's a lot of outs. I'm going to stuff it in there. Nothing really technical about that. And I'm going to take this seam and I'm going to line it up with the seam on the armhole. And we're going to pin that in place. And I'm going to pin it on both sides of the seam, because like I said, this stuff it's flimsy, it's netting, it's a type of netted lace, I guess you'd say, if that's a thing. And then I'm going to pull my fingers like this. I'm going to find the center of the top, and I'm going to put that center, make sure that my I want to make sure that this seam on my shoulder seam is the center of the armhole, and it is. So you can see there's the seam for the shoulder, and there's the seam under the arm. So again, sorry, just wanted to show you why I was doing that. So I'm pulling it, and I'm going to put that little fold right over my shoulder seam, and I'm going to pin it there. So this is going to give me kind of like a base where I can start dividing it. I think I called it binary division of the fabric. So again, I'm going to divide it in half. So I've got my pins together there and dividing it in half. And this is not like super exact. I'm kind of getting a base to try and figure out where I'm going to have to do a little pleating or gathering. Now, on a professional level, or at least a more professional level, the best thing to do would to be run a gathering stitch through this lace, and then you could just kind of size it into the fabric, into the hole. That's how you'd actually put a regular sleeve in anyways. You usually have a gathering stitch, and I could do that, but the thing about this lace is it's so flimsy. I'm just concerned about making a mess of it. I guess it wouldn't work. It wouldn't hurt to have a gathering stitch, but this is kind of a way of cheating that process. Heck, it may even be taking longer this way. I'm sure some of you are going, just run the gathering stitch. I don't know why I'm so opposed to those lately. Alright, so now we've got what I'd call the four corners done. And we can just kind of... Actually, we could put most of the gathers at the top if we wanted to just kind of give it a little fullness there. But I think I'll kind of space out some gathers. I'm just going to go, this is 1/4 of it. I'm going to pin it right here. And again, I'm pinning right sides to right sides. I'm going to put this little pleat or little gather right over this seam. I think that might actually conceal it a bit. There's really not a lot of fabric left in here. I mean, it's a very small amount that would be pleated, and because the lace is very flowy, don't think it's going to be very noticeable. So, like I said, that one little gather right there on the seam, and I'll just go over that, and it's not going to be a big deal. There just really wasn't that much extra, which is good. I mean, that keeps us from having this problem, or the potential problem. Now there's a little more right here in between these two, but not a whole lot. It'll probably take 2 little pleats again. So I'll just pleat it right there. I'm just putting my fingernail underneath it to push it into a little pleat. And maybe one right here of what's left of that fabric. Not much. Now, if you had bigger pleats to concern yourself with, you may want to make sure that they're in the same direction so they fall well. These are such little pleats, not a big deal, but I am pushing them all towards the bottom seam of the sleeve. So here's another one. But if you wanted to get more fullness out of the top, you could put all of this excess fabric at the top of the sleeve and just have kind of what do they call that? Well, a little poofy sleeve. I don't always have the words in my head. So I'm just going to finish pinning this. I'm going to pin the other one in here. And then I will come back and I'll show you me pinning the bottom before we take it over to the machine and sew it all together. This might be a sort of quick project. Fingers crossed. All right, I'll be right back when we're pinning the bottom. All right, I changed it up just a little bit. What I ended up doing was I pinned it from the bottom to the top like I did in the beginning, but I went ahead and put all those teeny little pleats. It ended up being 6 tiny little pleats at the very top, so it'll make the sleeve a little poofy, like we were talking about. No, I still didn't look up what that term is, but poofy it is. Now, I want to shake it, make sure those sleeves are down there at the bottom, or at the top, I should say, so we can add the bottom here. Now, here's another question that's going to come up. Am I going to be able to unbutton this from top to bottom? And I think my response is going to be no. I'm going to sew across this bottom, and I'm probably going to sew up maybe to the second button from the bottom, but I'm going to leave the top 3 available to open and close so I can slip it over my head. I think that'll be the neatest way to do it, and because I don't want to have to cut into this lace, I want to keep this piece whole, so I don't want to have to separate it for the opening. So again, I'm going to close up these 2 buttons down here. It's probably just going to sew along the sides of the buttonhole strip. It's what I do when I'm closing up my granddaughter's dresses. Leave the top 3 available to open and close. Actually, it's 4 if you count the very, very, very top button. So I'll probably leave these open, and that'll just make it easy for me to put it in over my head. I can just slip it over my head. Now, I know that there is enough fabric to do this, and I think we're going to run into the same issue where I've got maybe about 4 inches extra. So I'm going to once again make sure this is the right side because my little seam is on the inside. I'm going to pick it up like this, and I'm going to tuck it in here. Now, it's hard to do it from this angle, but I'm matching up the seams first. So I'm going to match that seam up on one side. I'm probably going to go through the thick part of that seam just to hold it in place. And I'm going to match this seam up over here. And see, it has a weird little gather to it already. I guess either the serge stitch is really tight, or I'm not really sure why it's kind of gathered like that. It's not going to matter though. Alright, now that we've got these 2 pinned, what we'll do is the same situation. We'll find the center of this roughly by putting the 2 pins together. You see, like that. So the pins are together, and that should give me the center down here of that second side. So I know where the center is, and I know it's right here on the denim, same process. So I'm going to just finger press that a little bit, and then I'm going to put that right there. Stuff is kind of flimsy and frayed with, it's not frayed, but the serge line is coming apart. Kind of glad I left it there though, because otherwise it'd be a right mess. I'm going to run my pen a couple of times through there, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. It's kind of a divide and conquer kind of process. So I'm putting my pins back together. I'm finding the center of the fabric, and I know the center of my fabric in the front is the center of my 2 button strips. So I'm just pinning that there. And I think what I'll do is when I'm sewing around to attach this lace, I'll go in, I should have enough room and just be able to sew up here. It won't matter which one I do first. So this will just give me security to go up the seam, up the buttonholes. So now that we've done that, we can honestly, again, we're not dealing with a whole lot of fabric. So I'm just going to kind of play with it, get it centered. If I need to put a little pleat in it, I will. I know we have extra inches left over, and I think that because this fabric is kind of scrunched on this serge line, that it may be all in one spot. But I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and pin it. Let's see how big this one is. Let's see, there's a lot more room on this one for some reason. So what I can do here is I can pin it, and I can move that gather over to the other side and give it a little more fullness and put the pleat in there if I need to. But see, there's a lot of fabric there. So it's not a problem though. We'll just pin it and deal with the little excess fabric like that. Boom. Gather made. Okay, and we'll go through all of them like that. And once I get it all pinned, we will go over to the sewing machine and serge around. And well, no, I'm not sure. I think I may sew it with the sewing machine, not serge it. I might sew it with the sewing machine first and then come back and serge it, just to make sure that I've got all of the fabric in the right place and I don't have any excess in a place I don't want. Sewing it first will give me that opportunity to kind of make sure it's perfect, or make sure it's good. We'll go with good. I'm not after perfection. So let me finish pinning this part, and then we'll go over to the machines. All right, we're over here at the machine. The setup I have done is I changed my needle to an 80-12, which is lighter weight. This is not really technically denim. It's very nice, soft cotton fabric. And I also dropped my stitch length down to 2 millimeters as opposed to 2.5, which is the standard. And the reason I'm doing that is because this netting is kind of, it's flimsy, for lack of a better word. So I want to make sure that I capture it all and that it's secure. Now, of course, as soon as I use that stitch and I get it all nice and secure, for some reason I'll have to rip it out. That'll be a pain in the tootie. So I'm going to do a sleeve first. And I'm going to slip my sleeve over my arm here that I've taken the extra part off of. Now I'm kind of doing it, I don't want to say blind, but I've got the lace on the inside, so I want to make sure that I capture it. So I'm going to keep my fingers involved as far as making sure I pull the lace and all of that, and it doesn't get buckled or gathered in the wrong spots. It would be, to me, it would be better if I was sewing from the other side. And you could do that. You could just do the opposite. In other words, you could turn your shirt right side out, and then you could put your sleeve inside out and be able to put it on the outside of the armhole. But generally speaking, putting it inside is how you'll see it done most typically. So I'm going to put my needle right before this seam on the bottom, because remember that seam's kind of heavy, and I want to make sure that this lighter needle doesn't have any hiccups. So I'm going to put it right here, and I'm also going to make sure that that the sleeve is going to flow properly. Having this much needle, or this many needles in a piece of fabric is always kind of precarious. One, because they tend to catch things they're not supposed to, and two, they tend to poke you. So I am running my needle right in the center of this seam, because remember we left the seam on the shirt, so the bulk of the seam is still here on the shirt. Hope y'all can see. It's a little different camera angle. I can get y'all in a little closer maybe. There we go. Does that help? Alright, I'm gonna drop this. Here's my first pin. Alright, I'm on the bottom. I've got the two sleeves sewn in, and I'm on the bottom, and I decided I was going to turn it the other way, so the shirt is facing right side out and the lace is pinned still right sides together. And the reason I want to do it this way is I want to make sure that any pleats that I put in here, that I don't mess them up, and it's easier to see it from the lace side. So I'm unplucking all of my pins that have attached themselves to extra lace, and then we're going to come up here, and I'm going to start on a side seam over here. One, because I know it's matching up, which is good, and I put any of the little excess fabric in the back because I didn't want any pleats in the front. I don't need any extra poofiness there. So I'm just going to start on one of these side seams, and where's my foot paddle? There we go. Now I didn't back stitch because I'm going to catch that stitch on my way back because I'm doing a complete circle. I am going to try and make sure that I'm making sure that the lace and the fabric are beside each other, obviously, are lined up. My needle is in the center position, and that just takes me right above that serge line that's on the lace, which is perfect. That's exactly where I want to be. Okay, so we went to the sewing machine and we put our sleeves in and we put our bottom on, and I'm actually pretty stoked about the way it came out. So it's just a combination of that denim like shirt from J. Crew that was already in excellent shape, had darts and everything, and we just wanted to dress it up with some lace sleeves and a bit of lace bottom. So I'm going to go over and try it on, and I think this might be it. I'm not sure if I want to add anything to the top. I'm going to try it on. We'll see what it looks like. And I'm pretty excited. This is just something I've been wanting to do. So let's go check it out. Alright, I just put it on with a pair of black tights. They're like those leather kind of tights. But I thought it turned out really cute. It was a simple project, and it's something that anybody out there can do. Granted, it's finding the right pieces together, and that might be the difficult part, obviously, but I think you can do it. If you got any questions, send them to me. Oh, and I didn't sew the placket up yet, the button placket up yet. I might not, but I'll probably sew up these. But that's all I've got left. And I might do that, I might not, you never know. But I don't think it needs any more embellishment. The lace sleeves and bottom are plenty enough. And this way, if I'm wearing something really cute that I don't want to cover up the top of my pants or my skirt, or it's decorative or something, this gives me that option. Something that not so long that it covers everything up. And I don't think I'm going to do anything with the edging either, because I'm okay with that. Because the lace was already serged, and I think it looks good. It's nice and clean. So anyway, please like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think, and send me any ideas you might have. So have a great rest of the day, and I will catch you on the flip side of our next project.